I do.
Okay.
So we're about ready to talk about dreams, and Bella was talking a while ago about, well, what kind of topic could we do, Mimi, on on our little podcast together. So that was like a couple months ago, Bella. Now here we are, like about ready to talk about dreams. So I'm
Mhm.
just gonna let you start to say about your dream. It was mining. Was that the one? You were,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. In that dream in particular, I remember a really dark, like, tunnel system.
yeah. Okay.
But it
Okay.
was a really it was a tourist location, I could tell, because they had a whole lot of um stands set up with
I
like
like it.
all the minerals. There were a whole bunch of people walking around. And I also remember not only was it very dark in there, but it was really humid and hot.
Oh,
And like you could go to certain areas and pick out your own rocks. But my association generally with that type of like tunnel system is like, well, first like the claustrophobic feeling.
okay,
But
okay.
I usually find that kind of like humid claustrophobia more comforting than most people. It doesn't feel like a tomb, it feels like a hug to me. Um,
Oh, I
and
okay. I
yeah,
like
and
that.
I was there with other people. Like there were a lot of other people around, so it didn't feel scary. It felt like an inviting space.
Oh,
And like, but then my other association with mining is like hard work, right?
oh
Like
my
you're
gosh, this
toiling
is
away in the mines, like you're really working. So it was a fun experience and felt really rewarding during that dream. So,
I mean, Bella, that was perfect. I mean, in that, um, me being the receiver of your dream, I would go like, "Are you done? Was there anything else?" And you're like, "No, pretty good." Then I would go like this. So that idea that that uh humidity and that climbing deep was like warming to you, that feels like womb. That feels like birth stuff. Seriously, when you said that part of it prior to the call, you started to talk about it, and then I had, some ideas about mining for gold and blah. But when you added that component, like, woo, talk about healing inner child. I mean, that I would go there instantly with that. And by the fact that, we're having this discussion because we talk regularly, I mentioned that mine, that serpentine mine that was
mhm.
over by where you live, and how they were having some rock climbing, not hiking expeditions where you can chisel away and get your own stones. And then that stimulated you to share the dream that you had. So that was like a premonition, like you were about ready to go deep with where you were at. And then now, um, wow, the moisture, the comfort, and there were lots of, you were being stewarded, your guides, your angels around you. Oh, and you
Yeah,
felt safe.
yeah, yeah. I did, and
That's
I wasn't
deep.
alone, you know. I feel like usually when you're in a dark place, you end up being alone, but like there were a ton of people and I had so much fun. I had such a great time. And that's why, when you had brought up that place to go chisel away and gather
Is
your own
awake.
things,
Like,
like I
get
was like,
that
wow,
out.
that sounds like exactly a great thing to do. I'd love to go do that. I've already done that.
I've already done. But then check this out. I'm responding to that one. I'm like chiseling away. All of us using our low-hanging fruit, using our wisdom, using our things before us, we can like chip those off, like from, that tree or that big rock, that stability. We can just chip off what we need, right?
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, we can
Yeah.
craft a new base. I mean, you were having fun thinking about that. I mean, you smiled and I could feel the smile,
hmm And
you
I feel
know?
like with rocks and minerals in particular, every time that I've gone to even like, crystal shops, you go
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
local little stores with people are picking out like, quartz or
Yes, yes.
tourmaline or whatever. Like it's a very personal experience,
It's a
like
very
people
intimate
are
experience.
people are drawn to the energies of these minerals. They hold a lot of energy,
Yes.
and which sometimes makes me a little hesitant to even interact with some of the shops
Okay.
because they do hold so much energy with so many people going into them. But like back to the gathering your own and having like specifically even my dream, like
Yeah, yeah.
the little shops set up with the little baskets full of different things. Like as everybody's wandering around to grab what they want,
What they want.
they're connected with everybody, but they're pulled to that thing that they need, and they're feeling that as they're grabbing it. And I do love that you brought up that it's like a womb, like healing within yourself, because I feel like that is very relevant to even the minerals, and I'd love to even
Yeah, no,
explore
so
that
I looked it
connection.
up. I'm looking it
Mhm.
up now while you're let's let everybody know. Serpentine is thought to help with understanding and resolving issues from past lives or past situations. These gemstones can help you connect to them and make peace where you need to. So, I always look at the synchronicity of the stone. There might be a message to make peace where you need to. Serpentine is said to be helpful in awakening Kundalini energy. It can also help to cleanse and balance the chakras. And in a word about that, maybe we'll do a little sharing on the Kundalini energy and how that really is impacted during the moon cycles and the caduceus, the healing snake that goes up the spine, and how that fluid crosses over and balances the male and female energy. And that happens, every time the moon cycle is in your sign. So 12 times a year, we all have the opportunity to rebalance that energy. And when we don't, that's the self-regenerating principle in our bodies, in our physical biology. So anytime we have a challenge along the spine, I always look to what that means. And it sounds like your dreams are pretty powerful. So you knew, higher self knowledge, Goddess Bella, knew it was time to dive deeply back into the womb and like heal that. That could be your story as a storyteller. And that would actually be important to add all the lenses, all the lenses that you utilize to prophesize your life, prophesize. But yeah, we've just been taught to not pay attention to that. But I'm just, we're doing this so people can start paying attention to their dreams. They're powerful. Sometimes they're junk, garbage in, garbage
Mhm.
out.
But
But we're not talking about that.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I think it's important to note down not only with your dreams all the little aspects of it. Like of course at first, when you're not used to looking at your dreams, it's easy to
Exactly.
just move on with your day and forget it. Like I even find myself like some days I'm like I a lot of stuff to do, so I'm thinking about the next thing and then the dream's just gone. It's like poof into
I
nothingness.
know, I
And
know.
sometimes I can sit there and like dig for a little bit and like reconnect to it,
Yeah, yeah.
but I find that rather than logically thinking about like, oh, what happened in the dream, it's the feeling that you get from the dream that
I
is the most
it's
memorable thing. So
that's what I
noting down,
yeah,
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 all the
yeah.
objects, all the symbols, and it doesn't have to be very long, like just a little list of like, I was here, I did this with, you know, this person was here. Um, it just helps you reconnect to the next time that you have a dream. It'll be easier to recall. You get more detail
Your own
and you
code,
know.
your own
Hmm.
code. And that's the point of, writing it down. It's not like you have to write it down all the time. And it's
Hmm.
not like if you don't write it down, you won't recall it. But you do have to connect with that information, what that teaching was for you, and then you can store it. Like I can bring up a lot of times, like you said, the feeling. So the feeling
Hmm.
for me is sometimes attached with a storyline or a picture. And I remember that, so I can pull that up for that dream, when I'm and consistency of symbols too. I used to have like water floating ones or um running in place and not getting anywhere, falling and not getting anywhere, that kind of thing, drowning but
Hmm.
not drowning. Those kinds of I had a series of those throughout a time in my life. And I think maybe journaling or writing those kinds of things down where you can go back and see dates and see time spans of how you've grown, that could be the value. Um,
Hmm.
So there's a different intention for writing. It's not always just to document so you leave some legacy of your dreams, because they may make a book, but maybe not. But it is to inform yourself of those parts of you that are speaking to you. And sometimes it's to the larger collective. But what Bella is saying is that you just have to be more practiced at it and just honor it. And you honor it by taking some time, like you said, to sit in the morning or before you get out of bed and just make some connection with the information that came in. However you do that, not trying to think about it the whole thing, and like I said, write the first script. I've been
Mm-hmm.
working with a lot of authors lately and people that want to publish, myself included. So those are some of my little jokes, because
Yeah.
yeah, not writing the script and all that stuff.
Terms of the trade. I see. I see.
Uh-huh, absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
well, and so you had now was that so that was good, the womb dream. So now what's cool about when people share on the dream stuff, Bella, you might have some friends that all of a sudden start to come in your life and they casually mention the dream thing. You're like, oh, really?
Oh, I would love that.
Well, we
Oh,
kind
I
of
would
we
love
kind of
that.
play this game where, we kind of play this game where, we share, and then are you done? And then I add insights or whatever. And it's kind of cool because that's a collective energy that's really powerful.
Hmm. I
Mm.
know also when we had first started talking about sharing and discussing dreams, we both kind of went into, documenting more of the dreams. And I did want to ask if there were any notable dreams in that time that maybe you had that you'd want to share. And if not,
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I had a
yeah.
series probably, I'd say within the last year. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, and it was distinct because it was like I moved to another level, I could tell.
Hmm.
And it was about, owning those different parts of me or letting those parts go. And I've always had somewhat of an ambivalent or an angry part. Like, Popo would say, like, well, why are you so angry? And I'm like, I'm not angry. No, I'm not. All I could do is laugh about it because my birthday. It was just so funny. But until until I acknowledged that part of me, it was like I really was. That part would come out, and people that didn't have that could feel that jabbing in some sort of way. Popo's pretty sensitive, so um um but true, it was just that whole not allowing me to be me, and holding back from parts of me, and how we don't really know that we do that until we stop and look at it, step back from it, and then and then when
Hmm.
you're ready you open the door, and then boom, there you are. So that was happening to me. And in this dream, very distinctly, I was in this room, in this place, doing something, and I think I was with a friend. um and uh and then there was some intrusion by another person, and I think they were like working in the store or attempting to help me, or I was supposed to do something with them, but there was some kind of contract of some sort in this gathering place, and it felt like a store of some sort. um and I told them to leave. Oh, if you don't like that, I said something like that, I no longer need you, you can just leave. And I woke up going, oh my gosh, that was little Miss Pissy Pants. I told her to leave. Like, I've appreciated our relationship. You've kept me angry and moving for a while. And I just don't roll. I just don't roll that way anymore. You can go. And she
Oh.
fucked off. And I woke up. So here's the confirmation. I'm in a Saturday group, which you're gonna have to come and join sometime. But one of the girls, Sunita, so we'd been in this group for maybe most part of the year, maybe part of last year too. So we kind of know each other a little bit, and we're all very, into the development of ourselves, so to speak.
Hmm.
Know-it-alls. No. So Sunita's like, Renata, you just look so loving, at peace. You look so different in like the last couple of weeks. And I thought, oh, snap, Sunita, let me tell you guys the dream. And because that had just happened that morning, was a morning dream. And I told her that. And then it just clicked like, um, I can't think of anything that clicks like that, but it's like just lined up. I mean, if we had a video game that just would line things up and snap
Yeah.
them in a row and then like boom, that was that one. That's what I call an aha. It like happened in every part of my body, like, oh, wow.
Oh,
And I've had a
wow.
couple of those where I've let go of parts of me that no longer serve. And that's what I'm talking about when you tap, issues in the tissue. And then when you're able to step outside of it and look at it, there's many roles you can play to remove that. You don't have to be ever stuck with that. That is the purpose of encouraging all people to pay attention to their dreams, because that's very powerful from time to time. And sometimes, like I said, it's, garbage in, garbage out. But
Mm.
that felt like that was powerful for me, just like your womb. That was good.
Yeah. And that one was some time ago too, actually, before we even had started talking about this or the
Yeah.
dreams. I kind of want to explore what you just said, though. I don't mean to get away from the topic, and
No, no,
you
you're
can
good.
stay
Go
on it
ahead.
if you'd like. But what you said with that aha moment being like snapping, like
Hmm.
snapping into place, like things lining up,
Hmm.
because I feel like I can connect with what you're saying with
Hmm. Hmm.
like having an aha moment.
Hmm.
But usually what I would describe that as is like standing in like a wide meadow, or like standing in like a wide open expansive area, like they'll have those areas sometimes like in a video game or something where it's
Okay, because
like,
you've got that wisdom with the video games and the virtual
yeah,
world.
like still water, standing on still water, and everything is like a void of like a calm sky above you being reflected onto the water. So it's like the sky
Mm.
is above and below, and you're standing on that, and it's like there's a cool breeze, and the aha to me is like just open.
I'm feeling, seeing what you're talking about, because I see some water shimmering, I see some sky, I see you in between. I mean, like I'm
Yeah.
seeing, feeling it, but I'm feeling it. Oh, wow, I could paint it in here. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm feeling and that's good for people
Yeah.
to know what we're talking about when you say you're feeling it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like connecting and you're saying, and I'm getting some image. I get you. Like we did with
Hmm.
the rock, but that's that synchronicity that's happening with people
Hmm.
and in
Hmm.
relationships too. So I'm just really about assisting people and honoring that, and get some groups going, whether you do them on the Zoom or, in your more uh, tribal relationships, because this is kind of a tribal grassroots things, like creating the new earth, one person
Hmm.
at a time with your thoughts, mastering you first, and all the tools that we have to do that, and the willingness to do that. That's pretty much all we need. And then the support just shows up all kinds of places. It really that comes from all kinds of places, and all kinds of things that you envision for yourself start to come true, like the dream that you had, and that was months ago. And I've been aware, viewers don't know your history or mine, but I've been aware of your ability to do the dream thing, because you told us on vacations, you and your sister, and your mom actually. But I've never had
Yeah.
a real in-depth, discussion or playing with the dream thing. So I love doing this with you. Dreams are cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, aha. I mean, yeah, I can confer with what you're saying about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
And the dreams, like I said, are less than the symbols. It's more about how they all make you feel. Like how you said in your dream, you felt you were in a shop. You felt it was like a contract situation. I feel
Yeah.
like in dreams, there's a lot of things that go unsaid that you just kind of know within you.
Yes. Yes.
And almost within that dream state, I feel like you're a lot more connected to that intuition.
Yeah.
Like it's knowledge rather than like a reference.
Exactly. It's
Uh,
knowing. It's knowing. It's not like a book thing. It's like a knowing.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
A total distinction. Absolutely. But you still have to allow yourself to connect with that. And how do you allow? Well, you open up and go, oh, I'm gonna start paying attention. That's all. Yeah, I'm gonna start paying attention. Whether you write them down or not, whether you have a discussion or not, I'm gonna start paying attention.
Yeah,
Attention, you know, like, yep, uh, yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And
what about collective, like group dreaming? Like, let's all decide we're gonna do something really cool when we're out in the dream world, and let's dream about creating safe space somewhere. What, whatever that means, if that could be a thing, and then everybody does that. We synchronize that safe space. Well, let's send it somewhere. Let's create the safe space with the energy of what it feels like you were saying to me, the your aha feels where there's the sky and then there's the water and you're in between, so it's like continual download and then integration and you're in the middle, so you're like free. That's kind of, I can, wow, I saw that. um and so everybody might have something like that as a safe space, or what they want to send to create win-win or more love. However, it could be a group of people, and then you just
Yeah.
synchronize that, at 12 o'clock, you know, we're going to set our intention for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or, somewhere in our dream world, we're going to bring something back for doing that safe space. And then we're going to hold that space. That's what that means. When you hold that space, it means you know that space, you hold that space. You are the knower of that space and energy. Bella, this one, sky. You're the holder of that energy. You know what that is for you. So you can transmit that. You can share your code with others.
Hmm.
Anyhow, that was interesting because that could be like another one, huh?
Yeah, I'm interested to ask,
Meditations, that kind of thing. Like
yeah, when you're mentioning collective dreaming in that state and connection, all of us holding that space. Why do you say then that it has to be like, oh, hey, at 12 o'clock for 15 minutes we're gonna do this? Like, is there a certain importance to the timing that it happens?
no, synchronize, just focus. Just people are busy these days. We live in a world of
Oh,
24-hour busy, busy, busy. So it's like,
yeah.
a lot of times in group meditations, when our group has them, I forget the time because we're a time zone away when John does the meditations for
Hmm.
healing the oceans and all that. So he gives us a frequency. We use a frequency. Um, a lot of times based on releasing some of the heavy proteins that are put into our ocean, which then get into our food and our fish supply, and then you know how that whole cycle goes. So balancing some of that, and then other kinds of frequencies for love. But any point, I got used to being in that group, and they had a time because we were all in different places. So when
Mm,
talking about collective, it could be people in different places and spaces, but just to reinforce that whenever you have that clarity of intention here and here, you can send that. That's a tangible energy, and you can send that or transmit that in other places. That's distance healing. That's what that is. So you can do that in a meditation and just synchronizing time. It could be any time, but that focus where everybody like stops. You could also, send your energy ahead at that time like a file, like I'm here, and then I'm gonna just send that forward and automatically do that.
hmm
But just to keep it, real, you asked me, so it's like so everybody's focusing at the same time. That'd be the value.
hmm hmm
Even if you wanted to make it be that we're gonna all randomly focus, that could be an intention too. Whenever it occurs to you between this time and this time, or this day and this day, we are going to all collectively send whatever it is we felt that creates a safe space, if that was the nugget that you were creating, right? And
Yeah.
you still have to kind of come back together, or have someone that, where you have some dialogue about that. Like, how did that feel? What did you send? And then you get some confirmation about the energy of that. And then you start to
hmm
understand that every time you think about something, you're sending it.
Mm,
Yeah. And so think about how many times, and when we think throughout the day and we dream at nighttime, we can be sending and transmitting, when I say healing, I mean holding energy, the things that allow us to be more graceful, the things that allow us to let things go. That's super important now for us to honor who we really are. None of who we are inside is irradiates from outside of us. None of it. Actually, everything that kind of, is something that is a hindrance to our flow is outside of us. That's why I always say there's nothing out there but you. And when you turn it back around, then that's like a look of appreciation, because wow, you just saved me a lot of time with that. That's how we can support each other, to be courageous enough to say what comes, knowing that
yeah.
that's the highest and best good for you, and that's all you can ever be expect or anticipate for somebody else to do, is that they honor and recognize the highest and best good for themselves. That's why being superficial and being protective and thinking you're going to hurt people's feelings is such a heavy, burdensome weight. I mean, and mankind has suffered that from a long time. That is why people go and sit and talk about things, because no one said, you don't have to feel great about letting it go, but you do have to honor the wisdom and the knowledge from the extreme contrast you've experienced in many incarnations. This is not your first rodeo. To
Hmm.
make the most mature, spiritual, uplifting, evolutionary choice, which is it is what it is, and to really let that vibrate into every soul. And so dreams are a way to really start from the bottom and like pull it down. Hence a womb dream. Like, so you're, all your cells know what that's about from all the incarnations. Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Inner child work, soul work, deep work, mm, disenfranchise. That's all real stuff. But generally, it's just you with you. And you just need some tools to harness that. Dreams are a really powerful one.
It is so personal. It is so
That's what,
personal though,
yeah.
which is why it can be scary to share sometimes, I feel like. Even though we do have this kind of collective understanding of certain symbols and meanings, like even though I did share my interpretation of it that it was warm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like all encompassing, I don't think I would have made that connection that it was like a womb, because that wasn't my first thought. But like the moment that you mentioned it and made that connection, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that does feel really relevant.
Yeah, except that's the value of that communication and that shared, that sharing. That it's just important.
Mhm.
It just is because if the intention is to um desire everyone to be able to get direct revelation for themselves so they can decide, because it is as deciding, it's a choosing. I am not implying that you have to choose to have your life be more graceful. That is my personal choice. And so, my lessons are different to me now. And so, I don't want anybody to shortchange their life experiences to get to some more carrot dangling point, because there's just like way too much of that out there. I don't even like carrots. My teeth my teeth aren't real great, so I can't chomp on them anymore. You give me some carrot mush or some carrot juice, maybe. Then my tongue is orange and like that doesn't look very good. So you know what I mean? It's like it is the time to up level, and I can be so light about it because my friend William used to always say to me, Renata, you're so intelligent, and so, intelligent, but you gotta lighten up. He never said it that way, but he'd say it other kinds of ways, and finally I kind of got it. And I would be insulted. But it's fine. I just like to look at stuff and learn stuff, and I can't repeat it back, but I can integrate the stuff that's good for me, and that's pretty much what I want to share with people. You don't have to follow any particular path. I follow the path of Renata, and now I
Hmm.
follow the path of Goddess Renata. She doesn't
Hmm.
ever steer me wrong, ever, and all parts of her are good with me. I have a conference table of 12 or 13, and I haven't even invite other people on board. Popo's on my conference table.
Yeah.
He's on my CEO list. And other people. I keep it pretty a close-knit family, but this idea of win-win for everybody, like if I take me out of the mix and I'm not win-winning with me, what am I talking about? I can't be the head of any company where I'm, saying I'm in charge and then I'm not giving the mandates that help other people excel. I'm dissing parts of me and, not talking to parts of me and projecting parts of me out here. Like, I do not have a strong company. I cannot make any impact in the world if I don't treat my temple, which is my business, if I don't treat myself with the respect that I tell everybody else they need to. And it starts with this being true to yourself. And it's different for each person, but when something shows up in your dreams and in your conversations and in your energy pattern, that's for you with the bow wrapped on it. And that's what dreams do for us. We get like advance notice.
Hmm.
UPS, FedEx says we're delivering a package to you. It'll be here on that day, something like that. So when
Yeah.
we
What
knock, open the door.
what would you say? What would you say to someone? Because I love that visual that you presented with the did you say council? Is
Yeah,
it?
council.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with the council of all the CEOs and consulting every part. Um, what would you say for someone who has gained that awareness of their council, consulting the council, but knowing that certain parts are being neglected? Like, I feel like there's a certain guilt that comes with that, that like, oh, I've treated, like, you haven't been heard, your voice hasn't been heard, it's been neglected for so long, and maybe I feel really bad, and I want to heal that part. Like,
Yeah.
what would you say about that?
Okay. Yeah. So that's the awareness thing. I remember seeing
Mhm.
in Ubuntu, and I'm hoping I say it wrong. Right, Ubuntu. And in African culture, somewhere I saw this, someone that's done a disservice into the community or stolen or something, they put them in a circle and they tell them how much they appreciate them. So they honor, because you're in the circle, we honor that you stole, lied, cheated, and that's not how our community works. But you are part of our community, so let us reinforce to you how wonderful you are.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that a different strategy than what we've been taught? I mean, that's why I say there's no one else out there but you. Everything is a reflection. Appreciate, meaning, thank you. You saved me some time. Even if you don't take that to core, as I do at this point, just having that as a base, like, if you open the door and you put the key in the car, pretty much it'll run. You might have to do some maintenance, some new tires from time to time. But,
Hmm.
pretty much if you said car, possession, mine, I can, key starts up.
Hmm.
So this is like the fine tuning of the engine. Sometimes it's a new car, really. I mean, your vehicle shifts so much and runs so much more gracefully when your fuel is love and not fear. Because you can't do both at the same, it's not possible. You either choose to love or be fearful. And they just
Hmm.
are always in conflict, always. And even though love looks like, oh, I've got to be angry, I got to, I got to do that. That's love at the time. Living only valuable experiences. They're your experiences. Make them valuable.
Hmm.
So that's what I would say about that. I don't even know if I even did an answer, but I think I gave you some other stuff that, like, just we are such powerful beings with that shifting of consciousness. That's the ascension. And we're connected to so many different realms, the dream realm, the 3D working realm, and we bring our magic down with us.
Hmm.
We take our intuitive knowings from our dream world and then we mix them in with our real world. We're like, oh, that's where that CEO kind of, and I got that from somebody else that said that they do that, but it made sense. It made
Yeah.
total sense that you'd want to do that. And that by just doing that alone, whatever comes is good. And then you get more clarification of that counsel.
Yeah. I've been calling my meetings with myself my board meetings,
I
and
love the
having
board meeting.
everyone and having everyone sit at the table and asking anybody to come up, see if there's anything that does come up.
Asking anybody to come up so they can be heard. You like solicit information from yourself.
Yeah.
Who knew
Yeah.
that was important? I mean, seriously, that's the whole meditation. That's the whole stop and breathe for a moment to collect yourselves. They should add an S to collect yourselves. You know what I mean?
Hey, I've noticed that you said the letter S a lot today, actually. What does the letter S mean? What does that got associated with it? Because you said it earlier. You said like the three S's.
Oh yeah,
And they were,
I was
yeah.
yeah, I was talking about the S's of the opposite side of the snake that doesn't connect, the transformation that doesn't connect, sabotage, silly, stupid, where we just don't open the door there's a loud knock, you
Hmm.
know, like the dreams have been sending you the dreams for a year, that kind of thing, loud knock, and you're like, whatever, whatever. I mean, people can do that because no one said pay attention because that's knocking. Yeah,
Hmm.
so there's that S, but then the other side of the S, just the side, the character S, if you add a little loop in the front and another loop in the back, we get that 8. This is an 8 year, 2024.
Hmm.
And then, I know you have some astrologically, some things depend on the 8 year and what's going on for sure too, as above, so below. So there's
Yeah.
that transformation at its finest. There's the blending of the Kundalini energy of the
Yeah.
spine. and then connecting over in the third eye, and then regeneration happens in the human temple. So that's kind of
Wow.
the S thing, the snake thing for me. But and it's a the first letter in that, in you know, the numerology chart that you have, the Pythagorean. It's a one, so it's initiator. You know,
Hmm.
kind.
I would love to talk about the Kundalini more sometime. I've always been very interested,
Me
but
too. I mean, it is
I
kind
don't
of
know a lot
fascinating.
about it. Yeah.
No, it's uh I told you I listened to a Sarah Elcardi. I love her. She's a spiritual teacher, but she's probably like, no, I don't think she's even 40. But she's
Hmm.
just, you know, stimulates me in ways that I feel confirmed, and really encourages, you know, the integration of the knowledge that you do have. And she's pretty heady, so I love that thinky, you know, brainy stuff. I just love that. But she
Hmm.
says some things that just can be felt so clear that I love her. And she had a great video on the Kundalini energy and the metaphors in that from the Bible and what they mean. And that was like powerful. And then I went to a website and it talked about the optic thalamus nerve and what that really is step by step. So I have a graph and I was making notes on it so I could really understand it. So that's why I do that, because it's like I did a little
Yeah.
dive with that. I'm happy to share that with you because it's really fascinating, you know, and then you can,
Yeah.
yeah, once you know, you read it like, oh, okay, oh, okay, that's what that is. And it just gets rid of all the like the poo-poo stuff about the Kundalini rising and just like what that really biologically does and why that's in place and why the Bible talks about it in one way in terms of metaphor. And then Sarah just breaks down what the metaphors are totally and takes the religiosity out of it, which is super important. It's an important knowledge to know because you can prep for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I feel like it's an important image to reinforce as well, like why they do have all of those metaphors, like the
Yeah, yeah,
picture of the snake, and how you keep doing the
yeah,
energy
yeah.
like
The
that.
Caduceus.
Like even with my limited knowledge on it, having that visual while doing a meditation, feeling the energy flowing up through you, through your body, like from the
Yeah,
bottom and having it emerge like out the crown of your head, like
yeah.
it's a powerful visual, at least that I've found. And
No, no,
I would
no.
imagine it exists because a lot of people feel that way. Um,
Exactly.
so
No, no.
yeah, I
Yeah, yeah. All of those ways that you've been able to connect, Bella, and it wasn't that you followed some certain path. That's kind of a direct reflection of how I've done, you know, moving forward. It hasn't been like on some certain path, or a set philosophy. It's just been, you know, what kind of shows up, and then, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I dive down a little deeper. Oh, that's okay, that's what that is. All right, I get that. So,
Mhm.
you know, my four M's for meditation, meditation, mediation, masturbation, and I forget the other one, but there's a fourth one too. So, you know, meditate, maybe that was it. Or medicate, that was it too. Okay.
Mm,
And that could be a lot of things, but I'm just being funny, because I like doing that and making it a little bit lighter. Because, you know,
yeah.
we're so deep, we really are. And the more we can let that surface, meaning being more light about it, you know, is really powerful these days because you know, we can just stand behind religiosity. We can stand behind what people tell us to do. You know, we can stand behind parental concerns, you know, discipline. You know, we
Hmm.
can stand behind all that, or we can stand behind who we do, who we are, you know, and
Yeah.
back that up.
Yeah, and if you're holding if you've ever held your breath underwater for an extended period of time,
Oh my
uh,
God.
I'm sorry.
That would have been frightening a
And
while ago because I've had drowning, you know, experiences in a few
yeah,
incarnations, but I'm good
but
with those now.
it gave me that visual of when you are holding your breath underwater for a while, like you have your lungs full of air, um, it's heavy. The water's heavy, and you feel a lot of pressure on you, and as you're holding your breath for longer, you let out a little bit of air and it becomes bubbles that rise to the surface. And you feel some of that pressure released as you're holding your breath, and you can stay under
I,
a little longer.
I was holding my breath and going, I hope she says I can let
Yeah.
it go now.
Yeah, you start releasing little bits of it at a time, right? And you can
Yeah,
stay under a little bit longer
yeah.
as you're just like bloop, 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 bloop. It's that lightness radiating out of
It's
you.
that lightness. Yeah.
Mhm. Just like the laughter, little bubbles of laughter. And we've talked about the laughter, how it's like tapping on the
Yeah.
inside. Yeah, your little
Tapping from
diaphragm
the
is kind
laughter,
of.
tapping from the inside. That's right. You had said that before. And I
Mhm.
don't think I like that.
Yeah,
Laughter is tapping
yeah.
from the, I love that. This feels like tapping, laughter is tapping from the inside. I love that. That's good.
Hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, because it's
Let's close
all
with that. Let's close with that. Laughing is tap, tap, say it again.
laughing is just tapping from the inside.
All right. That's perfect. Let's go ahead and stop our video for now, and then we will come together again talking about dreams and that. I so appreciate chit-chatting with you about that. You're an amazing young lady.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure speaking with you as well.
Till next time.
Hmm.
So I think I did cut it off. I'm not sure. I was trying to
Um,
do that without cutting you off. I think we did. I stopped the recording, so I think we're okay. Yeah, I think
it's
it
it
should
still
actually
says
say,
recording on my screen.
okay, so, okay. So let's stop. Oh, there we go. Let's stop recording.